Hi, everybody. Welcome to a conversation on filmmaking with, and today's guest is Dax Phelan, who is a very, very dear friend, a huge champion of independent film, a very talented, accomplished filmmaker in his own right. And let's see if I can figure out how to invite him on. One moment. Oh my goodness. Oh wait. You guys, you would think that I had done this before. Oh, that's not working either. Okay, well, Dax, if you can hear me, please request to join because I am so not tech savvy, which is one of the many myriad of reasons I am not a cinematographer. There's a lot of art that goes into that. There's also a lot of technical skill and know-how that goes into that. Let's see. Request to join, but how do I request somebody to join? If someone is watching and knows how to do, oh, if you hit the triangle. Oh, if you hit the triangle, you can choose to send it. Okay. Let's see if that works. At Dax. I'm not sure what that did, but I did it. I sent it. All right, so let's see. If I hit the little thingy, it says no request to join. You guys, it has been such a day. Oh, he can then request to join. Okay, hopefully that worked. Dax, if you can hear me, hopefully that worked. Oh, Dax joined. No, but how does Dax request? he's watching. How do I get him on the feed? Caitlin S. Photos, if you could help us again, that would be amazing. Oh, wait, I have a request. View my request. I think it's Dax. We're going to figure this out. Everybody, it's been such a day. We're busy. And I think we're live with Dax in 5.
Hey,
Hi.
hello. How are
How are
you?
you?
Good. I'm great, actually.
Are you good?
Yeah, yeah.
I've been running like a mad person all day.
I know a little bit about it. Yeah, absolutely. But it's all good, right? Everything got turned into Landmark.
It did. It did. We delivered the DCP. The Eagle has landed. Yeah. So much
Great.
fun to get those drives. When we did our film, I don't know if you can see that poster, that Song of Earth, our
Yeah.
short a billion years ago, we got our DCP in one of those really cool black Pelican like suitcases. It looks like you
Yeah,
should have a handcuff and
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
serious.
those are very fun to go through airport security with, by the way, because I think you have a kidney in there or, some kind of nuclear weapon, you know, but
Totally. We went through once with Ice brought, because Ice goes on vacation and thinks he needs all of his film equipment with him, and then like we never use it, but he brought this a Pelican case of lenses, and it was like a process. They had to look at everything and dust everything. It was a mess, but yeah.
every time I've gone on location, flew to a location with a sound person, it is a nightmare because of all their cables and stuff. And they always get taken aside every single time, and it's a 30-minute deal every time at least,
Yeah.
And everything's totally benign, but at the same time, it's just you just have to go through it.
Yeah,
And I can only imagine what their bags look like when they go through the X-ray scanner. You know what I mean? All
totally.
this,
It looks suspicious for sure.
yeah, right. All those cables and stuff.
Yes. So thank you for making time. I know you're super busy.
As are you. As are you. Thank you.
No, pleasure. I'm super excited. Like leading up to this week, we have our premiere on Monday, and leading
Mm.
up to this, I was like, I'm going to do an Insta Live every single day, and I've only gotten one in, and that's you. So
Well, I'm honored and flattered. Thank you very much. I'm glad to. Yeah, it's been an amazing ride, and I can't wait till Monday, and to see it with more audience members because, if the reaction from Newport is any indication, I think it's going to be absolutely terrific. I don't know if James told you, but a lot of the people that he invited are not native English speakers, and they're
Oh,
watching a film that is, well, relatively dialogue heavy, especially in the first portion, right?
yeah.
And he has gotten countless emails, just people telling him how much they were blown away by the movie, and I'm just so glad that they were able to follow the movie,
Yeah.
and not that your movie's hard to follow, but for somebody who's not a native English speaker, it might be a little more challenging than it would be to, a native English speaker. So, but yeah, they were all just completely blown away.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. That's very
Yeah, so
great.
I mean, I think it's a really great sign for the film. I think that means it's going to travel. It's going to have legs, and you know, if
It's
it
hard
quite,
as a filmmaker when you make something kind of like in a dark room and maybe your friends or a couple people watch it and like, can you trust them? I don't know. They love you. They're gonna like say nice things and they're not gonna tell you your baby's ugly and
yeah, but I mean, what I always think about is the first time. So you and I met, right, in summer of 2019, right, when I was trying to get my film together for the second time, and then you know, you guys wanted me to watch the film just to get my thoughts on a couple of things, and I wound up watching, and I do that, by the way, all the time, for friends, and it's always a favorite thing, and usually the films aren't, even if I'm not in love with them, which most of the time I'm not, I always try to be constructive and helpful and all that kind of stuff. And so it was very much a favor, right? And I never expected to like fall in love 90 minutes later. And I'll never forget, like when the film was over, I was just like, oh my God, they pulled a rabbit out of a hat. How did they do this? And especially with a film with such bold choices where so many things could have gone wrong and they didn't. It's just, oh, it's amazing. It's inspiring, is what it really is. The fact that you guys pulled this off. And, uh,
super sweet. Thank you.
well, I mean, look, I don't think I've ever been through a process like this before where, I just went in totally cold, and was completely converted. I would have done anything. So,
You are so sweet. Thank you. And you did a lot of things then after that.
yeah, thank you.
No, you
It
really
was
like
worth it though, like you see a film like that and it makes you want to fight for it, it makes you want to help it, in any way you possibly can. And I wish more films were like that. And yeah, I mean, I was lucky in the sense that, and the fact you already had the film edited, because a lot of, if I had heard about it on paper, I'm not sure I would have had the same faith, because I would have thought, wow, these are very bold decisions, very bold. They're not going to reveal the actors' faces for how long? I've never seen a movie like that before. No one's ever seen a movie like that before. And the payoff is so unbelievable that, I mean, I've seen the movie probably half a dozen times now in various forms as you were finishing it. And every time that payoff comes, I look forward to it. I have tears rolling down my cheeks. It's just, oh, I can't wait till I have a copy of my own on DVD or, on iTunes or something where I can just like pull up some of the greatest hits in the film
oh,
and just watch them from time to time. Because man,
so sweet.
when it's working, and it's working a lot, I mean, it's working all the time, really. But when it's working, it's just really working. I mean, and also, like you don't have films that like, it seems like a lot of movies these days, my own included, I must say, they're like so depressing, and yours is just so heartwarming and so touching. And, it makes you laugh and it makes you cry. And sometimes within 30 seconds of each other, it's like, it's a truly an emotional roller coaster. And I just love that. And, And seeing it for the first time at Newport on the big screen, I noticed things I had never noticed on the small screen for the first time. And so it was kind of like seeing the film, for the first time in a weird way. It really, really was, seeing it and hearing it. And then, of course, watching it with an audience and
Yeah.
seeing, I mean, okay, I don't want to spoil anything. Um,
It's a
but
different feeling though. It is when people like laugh at parts that you wrote to be funny and you're like, oh my God, like they got it. It worked. And when they laugh at other things, like it's cool. It's cool to have that energy.
there was a certain, cameo in the film, let's just
Yeah.
say, that I've seen, a bunch of times, and I always liked it, but it was hysterical when I was watching it on the big screen and with an audience. I mean, absolutely hysterical. And yeah, I just can't wait to re-experience it again on Monday,
Thank
uh,
you.
with
That's so
new
sweet.
people. Well, I mean, it's really a testament to you, I mean, you produced this thing, and it wasn't an easy road, and you got to the end. I know there's still some details that need to be figured out. There always are, but
Never over, Dax. It's never the end.
it's never the end. I hear you. I hear you. But I mean, you guys just deserve a huge pat on the back. It's extra. You really, when I say you pulled a rabbit out of the hat, I mean, I really mean it's like you guys are magicians. What you did, with that cast and that budget, and you know, um,
I think Ice
and
had
that
a
story.
yeah.
You
I
know,
think Ice had a really brave vision, and yeah,
very brave. And again, there are a million ways it could have gone wrong, and it didn't. And that's the real magic trick. And I think that other filmmakers, I think it's a film that is both going to be admired by other filmmakers as well as audiences, and that's really kind of the true test, because yeah, I think it's a crowd pleaser. It's a fan favorite, like oh, you just can't. There's nothing like that right now. We need more of it. I really think, not just obviously a film about connection in this day and age, and especially with COVID, and how I think it's coming along at the perfect time in a lot of ways. But it's also just, when's the last time you watched a movie and it made you feel good? You know,
yeah.
and so I just couldn't be happier with the result. Truly,
Thank you, thank you, thank you. But
thank
this is
you.
supposed to be a little bit about you too. So you are.
So I'm Dax Phelan. I'm the biggest cheerleader in the world when it comes to him and her,
I love it.
and
Thank you. But
yeah.
you're also an EP on this film. So what is an EP for people who don't know? What does that mean? What does that entail?
Well, it can vary sometimes from film to film. In this particular case, it's kind of cool. I'll have to repeat myself a tiny bit, but what happened was, I was not on board during the development of the project or the shooting of the project. I was not even involved during the early edit of the film. I simply saw the film, in post production, and as a favor to give my thoughts, and wound up falling in love with it. And it just so happened that, you guys needed a little bit of help to get across the line. And I was deeply depressed because my feature had fallen apart again. And so I sort of said to myself, well, if I can't make my movie, maybe I can help a friend of mine finish theirs, And so I didn't have a whole lot of expectations. It was really just, um, what can I do, like, to make your lives a little easier, because I've certainly been in that position on my own first feature, and it can be a very lonely road. And so it was really just a question of, trying to help make some of your problems go away. Whether that was finding, key post-production personnel, or, everything from the possible graphic designers for posters to possible composers to, finding, additional financing to help make the road go a little smoother. And So it wound up kind of being all the above, and I, continues a bit to this day as we get closer and closer to the finish line. But yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where I didn't know what I could do, and I didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver,
I appreciate that about you.
So
I think
yeah,
too many people do the opposite.
so I was kind of like, let me just try, let me just try and be for them what I always wanted for myself, and see how that goes. And maybe I can, maybe I can't, but like, I'd rather be, you know, on record, as a filmmaker and as a human being, as having helped this thing get across the line than the opposite, So,
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you, because you're a huge, huge, huge part of getting it across the line.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that too. And yeah, I'm glad we met when we met, because boy, if we'd met, because we had some close calls over the years where our mutual friends were trying to kind of put us together. But, thank God we met summer of 2019, because otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation right now, and I wouldn't be a part of this amazing film.
Yeah, it was
So,
perfect, perfect timing.
timing, right? It's all about timing. It's crazy how much everything comes down to timing.
Timing and relationships. So
Sure, of
super
course,
lucky on both of those.
of course. Yeah,
Yeah. So, and you also are not just an EP, an executive producer. You are a writer and a director and a producer, which is
right.
different from being an executive producer. So you wear a lot of hats in filmmaking.
That's right. I got my degree in screenwriting from AFI, same as you. And that was a long time ago. I'm not going to say how many years, but I started off as a screenwriter, and that's all I really wanted to do, And I started working in order to pay the bills. I started working as a junior level executive. Well, I was a development intern, turned story editor, turned creative executive for a producer named Mace Neufeld, who did like all the Tom Clancy adaptations as well as the original Omen movie and stuff. And he had a deal at Paramount, and then later at Sony. So I followed him there. And, for 3 or 4 years there, I was very, very happy being, an executive and working with some of the great writers and directors and finding projects for Mace to produce and helping, make the scripts that we had in-house better. But I always wanted to write scripts for a living. That's what I got my degree in. That was always the dream. And finally, I sold a script and I was able to do that. And I did that for a few years and realized, writing a lot of stuff, I'm making good money. However, none of the stuff's getting made. And often for reasons like completely beyond my control. I mean, you might have a regime change at a studio and all of a sudden your project is of no interest anymore, to the people who make the decisions. And so I wanted a little bit more control over my fate. And I was kind of looking at my heroes who were screenwriters, and they all seemed to sort of take their careers to the next level by directing a feature, that they'd written, right, themselves. Steven Soderbergh being a great example. And so I was like, you know what, maybe that's what I need to do, So I started to focus on writing something that I could direct myself. That wound up being my film Jasmine, which we shot in Hong Kong. It came out in
Virtual.
2017. And I enjoyed the producing process, even though I never would have thought I would have. I liked producing because, again, it's problem solving, but a different kind, and I think it came a little naturally to me in some ways. And it's also nice not to be in your little dark writer's room all the time. You can be out and talk to people and actually do
Yeah.
things on a set, you know. And you can also juggle multiple producing projects, whereas screenplays, you know, it's you might be on it for 6 months, you know, and you can't really focus on a whole lot else. At least not me when I'm totally in it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I wound up sort of branching out into producing and directing, and you know, that's did some commercials during COVID. That was a new one. Um, but
Award-winning PSA during COVID.
yeah, yeah, that was a it was a PSA called "Final Moments" about the importance of wearing masks. Uh, you know, back when so much more was less known than it is now. You know, but yeah, that did well, and I'm really happy. There's something really challenging about telling the story in 30 seconds, as
Yeah.
opposed to you know an hour and a half or 2 hours or even 3 hours. So I enjoyed that challenge, and you know, commercials are also kind of fun, and I know you'll appreciate this because they're done in a few days.
Oh
You
gosh,
know,
what's
it's
that
a,
feel like?
yeah, right. Like you have a couple days of prep, couple days shoot, couple days of post, and it's uploaded. You know, it's done. You know,
That's
it's out of
amazing.
your life.
Yeah,
So,
very. It sounds heavenly.
yeah, I bet it does right now. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, does anyone watching have any questions? If you have questions at all, you can put them in the chat. And
So I
otherwise,
can see some chat. Has that been going the whole time we've been talking?
it has. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Hi, everybody. I think I said earlier you were going to make him cry. Oh. Um, let's see. What is your next project? Because I know you've got, or if can you talk about it, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, the goal really is to shoot this film called The Journeyman, which is based on a book called Journeymen in England in the new year, and that's a project that I co-wrote with Mark Turley based on his book. It turned out very well. UFC former UFC heavyweight champion and Hall of Famer Michael Bisping is attached to play the lead role, and he is, pardon my language, but fucking perfect for it. And my friend Mei Ling Ung, who was just in Suicide Squad this past summer, is attached to play the lead female role, the love interest in the film, and we wrote it with her in mind, and so that's going to be a terrific project. It's a boxing film on the surface, but really it's a film about addiction, and it's sort of like The Wrestler meets Leaving Las Vegas, and I just cannot wait to
So
make that thing.
it's an uplifting comedy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Totally uplifting, you know, heartwarming. Yeah, heartwarming if, you know, if your heart's already, you know, black. No, it actually is heartwarming. Um, because it's a film about, you know, this guy who, you know, has really nothing else in his life except for fighting. And it's the only thing that gives him a sense of self-worth. And it's about what happens when he loses that and then has an opportunity to gain it back.
Oh,
And I think that the final fight sequence in that film will be something that people are talking about for a long time, especially with Bisping's performance, because he brings an authenticity to that role as a former fighter
for sure.
that you just would normally never get otherwise. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of people with this performance.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, me
Can't wait.
too. Me too.
Very, very cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you. So no questions yet? Come on, guys, hit me. Hit me with one.
We just have a lot of comments, but
Well,
not.
what about you? So I know how heavily you are involved in wrongful conviction cases and things of that nature. Can I expect a film along those lines down the road? Is
You
there,
can.
I
There might be a
can?
documentary along those lines coming up, and there might be a feature narrative along those lines coming up. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Can you
Yeah.
talk about it in more specifics, or do you want to wait until things are a bit more solid?
Um, I guess I'll wait till things are more solid, but I'll just say there's a vomit draft of the narrative feature. So that's an
Okay.
accomplishment, at
All
least to have
right.
something on paper at this
Yes.
point.
It's
And once,
always easier to work with dirty paper, right?
yes, then blank paper. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, once things kind of settle down with the him and her launch, then I will return to that. And once it's a little less vomity, I would love to send it to you.
Yeah, sure, sure. That's exciting. I can't wait to see what you're going to do next. It's you know, I mean, I can't wait to see what happens with him and her in the meantime. But yeah, anything you do next will be something I'll be anxiously following. That's for sure.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think until you like shoo me away, you're going to be like part of the process.
Yeah, there was a chance I might get something to direct. It just kind of popped up out of the blue, where there's an opportunity for me to do something here in LA that we can hopefully squeeze in before the Journeyman
Oh,
in
wow.
England.
That'd be
And
fabulous.
it would be fabulous. And we're sort of investigating it right now. We had a schedule done recently. Well, first draft of a schedule done. And we're talking a little bit about casting the lead role, but it's a very challenging film. It's a very challenging role. It's a great role, but it's one of those roles where um, it's a low budget film, and yet we need an actress who's incredibly fearless and incredibly talented and willing to work for essentially
Peanuts.
peanuts, which is tough because there are sexual situations in the film, there's
Mm.
nudity, things like that. So it's a big ask, but at the same time, there will be somebody who sees this as the way that Charlize Theron saw Monster and said, "I want that part."
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Well,
excited.
I hope that works out.
Me too, because we're expecting the wire to come in today,
Oh,
which would
wow.
allow us to hire the casting director, which would allow us to start the process of finding the lead actress. And the lead actress in this one really is the movie. There are other roles, they're all super important, but this film will live or die
Yeah,
based
based
on
on her.
who plays that lead actress. So I'm I'm very cautiously optimistic, but I've been in Santa Barbara County, as you know, since about June. But you'll be seeing a lot more of me
Oh,
if everything
good.
starts to fall into place, because I'll have to get a place back down in LA permanently
Awesome.
for a few months anyway.
Yeah,
So
very
yeah.
cool. Well, definitely keep me posted. Like, I have a million more questions, but like, I don't know if they're kosher for broadcast. But can you
No
say like,
problem.
how did the project come to you? Because I think that's always interesting because it's so many different ways it can happen.
Yeah, so on this one, it was very unique. I was spending some time. Are you okay? How are we doing on time?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, because I'm just trying to figure out if I should give you the abridged
The
version or
short
the
story or
unabridged
the
version. Yeah, but essentially, I was a very, very good friend of mine nearly lost his marriage due to being an undiagnosed sex addict. And I thought when I first heard about it that it was a joke. I was like, "Come on, dude, aren't we all sex addicts?" But unfortunately, in society and in film, sex addiction is treated as a bit of a joke. And or a punchline. It's used in comedies all the time, that kind of stuff. There's really, in my opinion, very few films that have ever tried to attack that particular addiction with any real sense of authenticity or responsibility. And so when I heard about it, I became absolutely fascinated. But even more fascinated was the women who suffer from this problem and how they sometimes will lead these double lives until those double lives become unmanageable. And so I found that fascinating. I started to, really go down the rabbit hole in terms of research. I started going to SAA meetings, things like that, reading a lot of case studies. And ultimately, I found out that a lot of this, stems from childhood sexual abuse, and so the idea was to come up with a story and this was back in 2007. So the idea was to come up with a story where I could explore this while also telling, I didn't want to tell an addiction story. I didn't want it to be about someone who has a problem and then gets better, right? I wanted it to be about someone who's doing something else while struggling to hide this part of themselves from their loved ones,
Yeah.
And so we're getting into dark territory. It couldn't be further from him and her, but I found out through my research that a lot this addiction in a lot of cases, the acting out behaviors are triggered by stress. And so I was trying to think of, okay, what could my character be doing that would cause her high levels of stress and anxiety? And so I
Raising
started,
children, being in a relationship, going through
yeah,
pandemic. I'm here all
right,
day, Dax.
yeah, right. You're hired.
Perfect.
Um, but what through my research, talking to cops, talking to firemen, talking to paramedics, talking to emergency room doctors, they all basically, this is a very long process, that I was kind of doing research on this, and they all said the one job they wouldn't want to do was working as a social worker or a caseworker for Department of Children and Family Services, because they're like, these people are on the front lines, and there are a lot of stories about bad ones, but there are a lot of good ones out there too, who are essentially putting their own families on hold, to help these other children who desperately need it. These are people who go into sometimes potentially very dangerous environments and they don't even have a gun. They have no way of, sometimes they get killed, attacked, all this kind of stuff. And so I said, okay, I think I've got that. So how can I build a narrative around her while having the backstory that I told you about before? So I wound up conducting essentially a detective story set in
Ooh.
LA in sort of the grand tradition of things like Chinatown and all the Raymond Chandler
So wait, when
stories.
did you write this? Because you're writing Journeyman also.
So I wrote this in January and February of 2020. I
Okay.
finished the draft on March 6th, right?
Perfect
And
timing.
yeah, and the plan was to shoot it summer of 2020. But as we all know, a couple of days after March 6th, the shutdown happened. And so I had to put this thing on a shelf, and it completely broke my heart. I didn't show it to anybody. I was so disappointed yet again, because this is my solution for, Kirkwood got canceled again. Maybe I should write something a little smaller and simpler that I can do in LA where everyone gets to sleep in their own bed at night. We don't have to put
Yeah.
anybody up in another city, all that
Yeah.
good stuff. And then of course the pandemic happened. It was completely out the window. But then, a few months ago, some people were asking to read some writing samples for to consider me for other writing projects. And this is one of the most recent things that I had. And some of these people were specifically looking for character-driven projects with a really strong female character. And I thought, well, I definitely have that, so I got a couple jobs off of it. That's what helped me move to Santa Barbara. And some of these producers were like, I know we read this as a writing sample, but what's going on with this? Because we might be interested in this as well, which was a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what's led us to this point. you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Congrats.
we'll see. Thank you. Thank you. You know, we'll see what happens. It's nothing's on IMDb yet. You know, it's still in the very early stages, and you know, we'll see. But it's something I'll get done eventually. Hopefully, it's sooner rather than later, as with everything. But
Yeah.
we all know that different projects happen at different times for different reasons, and sometimes those reasons are far beyond your control. Timing being everything, right? So.
Yeah. It's a strange business that we signed up for.
This is the business we've chosen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So crazy. There's a lot of rejection and depression in our business.
Oh God, tell me about it, man. You know, I was just telling somebody today, you know, like when Kirkwood got shut down for the second time because my executive producer passed away unexpectedly, and my producer wound up hospitalized with pneumonia and couldn't speak for a month. I was a wreck. I was a wreck. You were one of the few people who was trying to help me replace them. I remember that. Like
Yeah.
you were introducing me to producers and stuff because I needed a replacement. And what a mess. What a mess. But yeah, that one put me through the ringer. Absolutely. I wouldn't wish
So
that on anyone.
no, it's miserable. But so is it a sensitive topic, or like what's the, does that one just, it sits and waits for its moment in time?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I am actually having a budget and schedule being done for that now so that I can explore that possibility sort of concurrently with everything else, just in case something falls apart. Maybe the stars will align on that. And so I want to at least be ready, you know. And but like I said, journeyman first would be ideal. I'm still fighting every day to make that happen. Claudia, if that's the thriller set in LA, if that happens sooner, you know, I'll just have to pivot a little bit. But you know, every project helps every other project, right? And there's
That's right.
nothing better than having something that's in production or about to come out, right? In terms of getting, you know, kickstarting that next thing. So I'm ready, whatever happens. You know, it's just a question of you know when and where and timing. You know, but I feel
Well,
like I'm in a good place finally. You know,
I
so
think so. It sounds amazing. It sounds like there's some good momentum and good energy, and it's all going to happen.
now people have been really receptive to the script. So and that's you know where it all starts, really. You know, we just had a meeting with the casting director 2 days ago, and and he's like, "Look, you know, this is a challenge, but it's my kind of challenge, you know." And so I love hearing that, you know,
Absolutely.
like-minded collaborators, because again, it's tricky subject matter. You know, it's not going to be an easy film to cast, but we'll get her. We'll find our Claudia, and when we do, she's going to knock it out of the park. You know.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see these next two
Thank you.
projects.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending time with me today.
All right, thank you, as
I'm gonna
always. You know, I'm
go.
so happy to be a part of this. I can't wait to see the film again on Monday. Can't wait to see you guys again on Monday. Can't wait for you to meet my lady friend on Monday.
Oh, I'm excited to meet the lady friend on Monday, and I'm excited to celebrate with you.
All
And
righty.
thank you for being part of this film and this journey.
All righty. Thank you so much, Indy. Take care.
You too. See you soon.
All
I'm sure
righty.
we'll chat before.
Sure.
Bye.
Sounds good. Bye bye.
Ah, I just accidentally didn't cancel my live, but I'm going to cancel my live now. So bye, everybody. Thank you for watching and tuning in, and we'll do another one soon.